Khazal's flight seem almost weak by comparison. Oh, really? It's just this immense, sort of immediate flurry of speed.
Because Bahamut's Platinum Dragon, these are all Golden Dragons. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. But these are the, these Golden Dragons are like the pinnacle of Golden Dragons in a way.
They ain't no scrubs.
And you kind of, you're just, although while on him you feel safe, like there's almost less sort of wind in your hair as he flies, but the speed in which he travels with each beat of his wing, each thrust just kind of flings you forward at another, several hundred miles an hour. It feels like as you're blasting through Mount Celestia. You see that as he kind of worms out of the Golden Valley that you're in, it all is a bit of a blur beneath you. But as he gradually sort of starts to gain more and more altitude, you can kind of see how the other layers of Celestia kind of merge into one another and create these sort of microcosms of different strata, each kind of with their own characteristics. Still being in Mercuria where you are, you're still kind of wreathed in this sort of low-hanging sunlight. And as you kind of climb high, you see that the sun begins to crest, almost like time's moving as you travel upwards, or the time of the day is moving, before he kind of plummets straight back down. And you can see the glistening silver shores, and as you descend, the sun very rapidly sets, and you're kind of immersed once more in this everlasting night of Lunia. As you kind of whistle down through just over the streets of Lernia, you can kind of just about make out the various inhabitants of this city kind of look up and point as Gildrath flies above. And as you scream down, getting closer to the water, you kind of get this trail of water flying out from behind the dragon, and you just hear the sort of passing cries of Illyrian saying, "Farewell, travellers!" You kind of whistle past, and you can see that you are rapidly approaching one of these great obelisks, which kind of stand almost slightly eerily out of the sea in Lunia. And as he arrives, he just kind of sort of slows his travel and kind of opens up his wings and just generally kind of floats down into the water and just kind of floats on the water, and he kind of becomes almost like a giant boat. And he looks between a lot of you and he says, "Are you ready, Vakaiks, for what's in store?"
No. I don't know, I hope so.
He says,
as ready as we'll ever be.
He says, "Yes, travelling to concordant opposition can be an unusual experience. You will witness most unusual things indeed, but I'm sure you will enjoy it."
Have you been there?
He says, "I have but once, on business of Bahamut's, but I found the bustle of such life to be, well, something I'm not used to. I prefer the peace of Mercuria, where I can stay with my treasure and do my reading." And with that, he kind of approaches the edge of the obelisk, kind of just slowly sort of swaying his tail to propel him a little bit. And he says, "I wish you the greatest of luck. You have all of us at your side." And with that, he urges you to go forward and place a hand upon the obelisk.
Cool.
As you do so, you find that the sensation of teleportation is almost immediate, and you're suddenly kind of splurged out into this sort of stony corridor. It's sort of relatively dark, and there's a bit of a path ahead of you, but you can see through the archway at the end of this corridor. You can see many sort of moving figures, but because of the dark you're in and the light over there, it's a little bit hard to make out what's going on. But as the light adjusts and you begin to walk a little bit further, you can see this kind of hustle and bustle of this sort of metropolis, with all these sort of all these cloth tents laid out and vendors and everything all sort of muscled around everywhere. Let me just get up my a page here. Let's get it out. Here we are. not save. That'd be annoying. Oh wait, no, here it is. Yes. And as you continue to walk along through this corridor, and you eventually emerge on the other side, you can see this enormous. It looks like you're sort of on the inside of a great ringed tube. You can only it goes on for miles, so you can only see a little bit around each side. But it's like you're sort of on the inside of a donut, if that makes sense. And as you look around, you see that along every face of this smooth rounded cylinder there's this sort of gravity defying city which just splurges out across the whole ring essentially. As you kind of look up and look around, you can see that there are very sort of clear different districts and areas of interest that must have various unusual purposes, and as you look around immediately around you,
what's the sort of diameter of the donut?
Probably like 2-3 kilometers sort of thing.
Okay.
Like
Quite
is
small.
in height.
Yeah.
But then as it goes round, it's a little bit like what's the film? Is it Elysium? It's a bit like that.
Sure.
So it's just stood in one place. It kind of spreads further around, and you can see that there's kind of towers that stick out. Some of them are kind of crooked, and there's areas that just look like sort of more regular cities and places that you'd get on the material plane, and others look like huge open plazas, and there's parks and all kinds of different things. And where you've emerged at the moment, you can see that there's essentially a massive sign almost straight as you step out of the archway, and only door and you'll be able to pick apart. But you see that in common about sort of a quarter of the way down, it says Equilibrium Plaza, but all the text around it is just that same Equilibrium Plaza in like a massive plethora of different languages, many of which are like totally alien. And to add to this sort of unusual nature of the place is as you look around, although it's largely dominated by creatures and species and stuff that you find on the material plane, kind of almost equally diverse in terms of, tiefling, all the weird ones, ogres, orcs, humans, dragonborn, everything. There's this pretty even homogeneous crowd. There's also an addition of other beings that you don't have words for or can't even imagine, kind of strange amalgamations of flesh or these strange kind of gaseous creatures and all this kind of thing, some of which send a little bit of a shudder through your body as you look at them. In addition, immediately arriving here, for all of you who are, in touch with magic one way or another, feeling this kind of stripped from you makes you feel probably quite vulnerable, and a little bit naked, especially for you, Dorwin. I'd say that it would be probably quite like scary to see the glow of the ruby in the pommel of your daggers just gone. And anything that you kind of use magically is just non-functional. So, upon witnessing this and feeling this, how would you feel? Do you think arriving in this place?
I think the feeling, the recognition that the magic within me is now, completely subsided would be alarming. But I think, is it, as you say, so the ruby in his dagger has sort of, the light and the power of it is sort of has waned. Then I'm assuming that it's very clear to see on everybody that we would perceive to be magical is also going to look very strange. So while Gesh would feel odd, I think he would be more intrigued to see what how Dorwin's getting on, or also say other inherently magical beings, seeing them without their inherent powers would be really quite an interesting sight in itself. I think would be more intriguing.
Well, one thing that I'd note with this as well, one thing you would notice is that the kind of background heat from your breath would be gone. You wouldn't have your fire breath.
Yeah.
So yeah, you go on voice your voice. So you could ask Dorwin or Kalani or whatever about
Well, also, where does this leave Dragos as well then?
I guess he'd have to decorporealise.
That would be
Yeah.
upsetting. Guess we'd not be happy about not being able to have Dragos running around and seeing all these little critters.
Yeah. Well, you'll be able to share them with him when you return.
Yeah.
With your mind. Yeah. Yeah. Where's Dorwin at, you reckon?
Yeah, Doran, pretty booked out, doesn't like the feeling of suddenly being pretty much fully exposed.
Oh shit, sorry, I just realised a lot of the text you wouldn't have been able to read. Because it's a magical enchantment, isn't it?
Oh,
your
because my
ring
ring,
and
yeah. So just the
ones that you can
languages
say.
Yeah, fair.
The other 20
yeah,
languages.
Yeah, we list. Yeah, but obviously, especially seeing this giant, great big open space full of like great big beings, quite agoraphobic. Definitely, heart rate increases, and if any of you have seen me, my eyes suddenly start darting around a lot more, looking for somewhere to hide in and escape routes, etc. Yeah, just in a whole lot more uncomfortable.
Yeah. I'd say as well, just one thing you'd notice that would probably, rub you the wrong way a bit is that you might even see people will be sneering at them and stuff like that, but you might even see like a cluster of devils kind of strolling around a bit as well, or maybe one or two devils which are just here to do a bit of business or something like that as well. But they're just considered as accepted as are the any of the celestial beings that exist here as well.
Say like with the devils, for example, wouldn't they look really strange because they wouldn't be like fiery or whatever? Because they just look dull.
Yeah, I mean a lot of the devils aren't necessarily. I mean a lot of them look just like red people and stuff.
Fair. I was trying to
make some pretty cool stuff on Mid-Journey, but yeah, anything that would typically be having flames ripping around or whatever, it would all be completely muted.
Yeah. Like a storm giant or something like that would just not be very stormy. It'd just be big.
Yeah.
It'd just still pretty scary.
Yeah. Storm giants aren't necessarily inherently stormy, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, that. Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Just real quick, either reload your page or delete and re-add Elven Absolution, and just check your modifier now, see what it is, make sure it changes.
Alright.
Just
Good thing.
Yeah, I mean, and as well, so for you, Polana, obviously, I feel like your tail will be weird. You can't articulate it and stuff necessarily.
Is it just the sword poking out my arse now?
Very much, yeah. Like a wasp.
Yeah.
How does Polana shit?
I guess as well, my eye thing, we said that was basically magical, so now I've just got no depth perception
Yeah, it's one of the things that I quite like about the concordant opposition is that it kind of deletes everyone's power, but you also can't really get there unless you are really powerful, So it's like kind of an interesting one. And then you just get barbarians just annihilating everything. So yeah, I mean, is there anything in particular you'd notice? I mean, you'd be sort of immediately disconnected from nature spirits and stuff, which is really odd.
I was thinking, this place is so alien, and it's so, I don't know, maybe.
Sorry, just to touch us on real quick. It's also as a Eladrin as well. You might yourself feel a bit a bit heavier, because you are a sort of magical being.
Okay. I think I would. Yeah, maybe what I'm picturing is wrong, but it doesn't feel very natural. There's not. You said there was parks and stuff, but not. Forests and critters and shit like that.
It's very much a city.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not as abhorrent. Abhorrent's the wrong word, but
unsettling.
Yeah, as Scrawl's End, but I very much don't like this place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. Is you're not a city slicker.
Would just out of curiosity, Enoch's psionic stuff be quelled, or does that not count?
Here, I would say that. I don't think psionic stuff could persist here. don't know. Psionics are like a presentation of your force of will. You know.
They're not actual magic.
It's not magic as anything else is magic. It's sort of a separate thing. I'm trying to determine, like, I guess it's really calling into question like the nature of psionic magic. I would
Might potentially give people an incredible upper hand if they this magic.
I guess it depends how our powers have been stripped. Is it because like the weave just isn't here, or is there like something else that's just like quelling all supernatural forces? Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, you know, if you think that everything, if you picture it like this, because everything that the material planes comes from the 16 outer planes that have been assembled in such a way to feed into the material plane, essentially. And this is like the sort of demi-plane, like epicenter, where it almost like sort of repels all of what is natural, you know.
sure.
So
Like
it's
a storm type thing.
yeah, it's like a white hole of the world. And so I don't know. I'm thinking in terms of psionic stuff, I guess it is like a force of will manifested. Like it manifests as like a extension of stuff. I would say that probably logically for me, the part of the point of control and opposition is that all this stuff is quelled. So I probably err on the side of it. Probably doesn't function in the same way.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's a bit just like it doesn't. Yeah. I would say like so with the magic stuff, like nothing would ever happen. I would say with psionic stuff, it's almost like you could almost still try a bit, but nothing would ever happen. You know,
Sure.
like nothing would come of it. But you can still attempt it, which you can't even attempt magic here. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'll give that a second. We'll carry on. How was everyone's day?
Good. I had my they called like goal. I forget the name of the meeting. I just got a message, like a review type thing. And I did better than my last one.
Nice.
Last one they said valued employee, whatever. This time I got exceeds expectations.
Are you doing your newts?
Did feel like that.
That's so funny.
But they also gave me impact of employee leaving low. But he said he gave that to everyone in the team because, like, you know, the whole point is we'll have shared knowledge. There's no one who like is in full control of one thing because that's like a risk.
Yeah.
But still, he was like, no offense, but.
So he said that to you and everyone else. It's like, I'll give it to everyone. It's kind of a savage way to put it, isn't it? Value of employee leaving.
Impacts, yeah.
Oh, impact.
Yeah.
Value.
But still, it kind of reads as impact of employee,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely comes across as we don't care if you leave type thing, you know?
I feel like it's like, I guess it's good to be transparent, but I feel like it's almost more something that should just be on the manager side of things.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy about Trump, eh?
Yeah, I know. Kind of a shame that that's now basically secured his victory.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a martyr. He didn't have to die.
Yeah, pretty mad, and it would have been especially mad had he not just missed.
As in if he'd got it?
Yeah, like
Oh, yeah.
it was, you know, a centimetre away from being like a 10 times more insane news story.
Yeah.
Which is like pretty,
It's mad fucking how many American presidents or president-elects have been, at least had an assassination attempt, you know. When was the last PM that was that somebody tried to assassinate? Like, fucking
throws a fucking kitchen knife.
Bolsonaro in Brazil got fucking shivved.
yeah.
I mean, he survived, but typical Brazilians.
What, surviving or bad at stabbing? Which one are you having a go at here?
Just shivving people.
Sorry, my chips. Oops. What did I miss?
Oh, no, nothing. I was waiting for you.
Oh, God bless you.
So yeah, this main area you've kind of emerged into. You can see that there's all manner of you know, different sort of stalls set up and everything, but otherwise it's a little bit more of an open space than what you can see elsewhere as you read this Equilibrium Plaza. You can see this sort of wide cobbled street, cobbled plaza, I suppose, and it's kind of a stone that you don't really recognise. It looks quite strange, and there's these two sort of enormous statues, one of which kind of represents complete order, and the other which represents complete chaos, and they kind of stood facing one another. And one of the things that you notice about the statues is that almost as you bring them up to the other people in the party, you realise that all of you are sort of witnessing different things. So it's sort of like a subject view of what they actually look like. I mean, it's up to you what that does look like. A great stat, one board.
My view of chaos is just Enoch.
yeah. And then you're like, maybe going like, Enoch, what the hell is that statue? Yeah. What do you think your order would be?
Just like a knight, you know, like a paladin.
Yeah.
Knight.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. What do you think it would be for you, Al, or Gesh, rather?
I think order for Gesh he would be quite overwhelmed and freaked out by as we approach and we see this, because the order is a statue of his father, and
I had an interesting thought. I don't want to put this in your face, but just something I thought would be quite cool for somebody, or maybe probably more fitting for Rudy or something. With the wisdom and nature understanding, it'd almost be cool if the order was like, you know, like a natural place, because it was just sort of inherently chaotic. To you, it's like makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Just everything works in here correctly.
This lovely grassland as a statue just fills the whole of the plaza.
So you see, so your father, what sort of
just
what's his expression?
You mean the Aarakocra?
No. He sort of adopted and took care of his birth father, Gesh's birth father. He would be he'd be stood, you know, like the it's the queen in the Harry Potter Philosopher's Stone.
Oh, the chess piece.
Chess
piece.
He stood like this over his greatsword, and then the chaos would be the dragon which cursed his mother.
Oh, cool.
That would be quite cool.
You got anything on the
It was a statue that displays
Order and chaos.
Order and chaos.
Two statues
But it's
facing each other,
subjective.
but it's subjective to the
sure.
character.
Probably fucking a librarian.
And then Enoch.
Yeah,
probably.
Enoch ravaging some pages.
well, I feel like Dorwin's probably through his mad magical ramblings has witnessed chaos beyond reasonable comprehension.
Yeah, it takes a form I don't fully understand.
Yeah, just something you don't understand.
Yeah.
It's chaotic to you. That's
Yeah,
great.
sure.
Yeah. They ask you what it is, you're like, no, I don't know.
I don't know, but I like it.
It's confusing.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I was going to say my chaos would be who's the like leader of the unseelie court?
Oh, I've forgotten.
But yeah,
Yeah, that was in. I need to know now. Yeah. Let's see, it's right here. Oh yeah. They're literally just. It's annoying, isn't it? They're literally just called Queen of Air and Darkness, aren't they? They have like a cool name. And then there's other unseelie members that you fucked around with, didn't you? And yeah, so you kind of see that they almost sort of rotate round one another, but in such a way that they sort of displace anyone who's in their path. It's not a danger.
So is it like they're rotating on a base, or they are actually moving?
No, it's sort of a bit of both. Like they're kind of going around one another. You see that they've kind of got this sensation that they're sort of directed towards one another in a way. But yeah, you find that there's all manner of sort of new. This seems to be where a lot of people come out. As you look kind of behind you to your left and right, you see that there's multiple archways kind of scattered all over the place. These are very much one-way archways. You sort of emerge into just dark space and emerge out. And so you kind of see all manner of people. It's a little bit like Ministry of Magic vibes. There's people just coming out and then just going off and doing their stuff. While here as well, because of this sort of, it's where people emerge, there's this sort of unending amount of sort of stalls and salesmen and street performers and stuff, all trying to get a few coins out of you. They're all shouting out different things. But yeah, so while you're here, you need to figure out a way how to, I guess, essentially leave Concordant Opposition and get to the Outlands so you can travel to Mechanus. So what would you like to do? Is there anything you would say to one another about the plan you do? Are there any role play it a bit?
Signposts there?
There's signposts all over the place. Yeah.
Can you read any of them?
Which one do you want to read?
That one.
The signpost that leads to Mechanus.
Oh, okay. But so, as you're looking at all the signposts, you see that they all seem to point to like specific places and districts. So the ones which seem to, as you kind of look at some different maps, I'd give you a list of different ones that are sort of most eye-catching or in your immediate vicinity, or things that I have stuff to say about. So there's Equilibrium Plaza where you are at the moment. There's the Archive of Parity. There's the Harmonium Enclave. The Bazaar of Dualities. The Paragon's Rest. The Clockwork Cathedral. The Convergence Arena and the Nexus Gate are the sort of most significant.
Clockwork Cathedral, please.
What was the arena one? Convergence Arena?
There was the Convergence Arena.
That sounds pretty cool.
So from where we are in this plaza, these are all the signposts. Do they all lead off in different directions? Do they?
Yeah, basically, these seem to be some of the main sort of identifiable things in the Concordant Opposition.
Right.
There's other ones like.
But we're trying to get to the Outlands, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So okay.
Nexus Gate sounds like a way out.
Yes. Yes.
Should we chance around there, or should we ask around and see if...
I think the clockwork thing sounds like a Mechanist type of place.
Okay, true.
Maybe it's near the Mechanist Gate. People might know that.
Yeah, we can give that a go. Does it have distances on these signposts?
I mean, you can sort of.
Or are they like go through the archways? Are they like teleportation archways?
Nah, you're not getting. There's no magic here.
No, of course it's not.
I mean, a lot of them you can sort of see, like they seem to kind of point directly at the thing because you've got this sort of 3D scape. So, for example, for the Clockwork Cathedral, you can see that the signpost points one direction. As you look over to it, you can see it's maybe about a kilometre away, you can see this whole area where there's like this mechanical whirring and moving clocks in among this giant sort of Roman style cathedral. You know.
Oh, so it's all quite local then, which is good.
Well, I mean, it's probably about like 2 kilometres away or something.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
When you said we're inside of a donut, do
Yeah.
you mean literally like Elysium, we're on the inside ring of... Okay, because I was thinking we were inside a sphere that was donut shaped. So the interior donut was all a big city, and then it went tubular around like this.
It is tube. It is. You're
You're
but like-
in the middle like a donut, right? Where there's nothing.
We're
you can't see a
inside the
hole.
hole.
No, but like
No, you're inside the.
tube.
Like, imagine you got a tire tube.
Yeah.
You guys are inside the tube.
But is
What's
it...
on the
is
inner
it...
edge of the
Yeah, exactly.
tube?
More city.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
it
it's
is
like
what
a-
I was thinking.
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
yeah, okay. So how
So it's
can
like a
we-
big,
So it goes round, but then that round goes round.
so it's like
as
a
well.
big pancake thing.
without the
Yeah.
middle?
Sure,
Yeah,
thick
yeah.
pancake.
It's a pancake with a hole in the middle.
What's
but,
the hole
Otherwise
in
a
the middle?
donut.
but as in you can't see the hole. You just know there must be a hole.
Why?
Because
Because-
we're in a tube
Yeah.
and it's going around like this.
And the tube completes.
So we can't see this other side of the...
But
No.
if we walked round far enough, we'd just go round
From
and
your
round.
perspective, there's a sloping column in front of you, if it's on a 2D plane.
Yeah.
But as you
Oh,
move around,
sure.
you see that it's
Oh, so
always
there is a
there.
hole in the middle. Okay, fine.
Yeah, but you can't get to the
No,
hole.
but like if
Yeah.
we were looking at it, there would be a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, so we're in the tube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just to confirm, you guys are in a tube.
No, we're in a donut.
Donut is a tube.
Okay, so we've got Clockwork Cathedral a couple of kilometres away. Where are the other places that we were talking about? Nexus Gate?
Well, I mean, they're all sort of varying,
Roughly the
relatively
same,
approachable distances. And
Do you want to start with the cathedral? That's what
Sure.
you seemed keen to
Yeah.
go to.
Just only a couple K away.
Okay, so you begin making your way through the city.
And it is all just hustle and bustle, right?
Yeah,
As you
I
say,
mean,
obviously
there's
the
Ooh,
districts
are there
and
like
stuff.
shops here?
yeah, heaps of shops.
What kind of shops?
Every shop.
Nothing magical.
Yeah.
You see that they're, walking along, all these different people calling out to you. A lot of it's sort of, clothing and food and all the.
Is it all like? Oh, I guess none of it's magical.
No.
But
So this is
could
the
it be
thing.
magical if it were taken to the? So it's a lottery. You don't know what.
Yeah,
it's
there's a
gonna
lot. There's a lot of people who you kind of, with some insight checks, so you're like, oh, they're chat shit, and they're like, this will do so and so, or whatever. Or like this will give you wings when you leave, or this will make you run at super speed.
This
And
will
you,
harden your
you
wood.
kind of see this like kind of losery little person, or perhaps a devilish kind of entity, and you're like, down that. But yeah, so there's all sorts of stuff being sold all over the place.
Is there any fighting or anything going on? Because there's such a plethora of beings here.
I mean,
Any
fine.
conflict of any kind?
I mean, yeah, you'd walk past the occasional angry person getting pissed off about something, and there's a back and forth, and it is a place where fights totally can and do break out and stuff. Especially if if an angel walks past a devil. I mean, the devil's not unlikely to start shit, but you get
There are angels here.
yeah. There's pretty much every type of being that can be.
What do angels look like?
You've met some.
What?
Whirlwind.
That's what the
Oh, the like guardian thing in
Yeah.
Lunia. Lunia?
yeah, what were they called? I can't remember, I forgot. Shit, getting rusty.
Archon.
Hey?
The Archons.
Archon. Yeah, nice.
See, my notes are coming in clutch.
Oh,
look.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, sweet.
Is there in this concordant opposition? Is there a law? Is there any any government or anything in this place?
No, not really. No.
Sweet, so we can do anything.
So what would stop Gesh from shanking a devil?
Well, other people would probably come and fuck you up.
What would stop me from shanking?
We do one visit, somebody comes through one of the portals and just everyone's dead.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
Just hypothetically speaking.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
Well,
it's like an idealized form of anarchy where it kind of governs itself.
Oh, okay, I see.
It's like, why would you shank someone here? And if you did, what?
Because one knows devils to be evil.
Yeah, you could go on
That's
a devil
enough.
killing massacre, but then,
Racist.
but then it's sort of like there's an overarching understanding of like this is literally where you come to like where powerful beings will come to like negotiate with their enemies and stuff. It's like a very much considered neutral territory.
Okay, fine. So
It's
that's
like
what I was, yeah.
I'd say it's more of a social faux pas than a
Somebody just like tuts at you when you stab someone else in the face.
Yeah.
I'm just inquiring to get a better understanding of
Of course,
the
yeah.
area. Yeah.
Well, I guess we should do this through roleplay stuff, really, shouldn't we? Through characters and things.
Excuse me, sir. Why shouldn't I stab you?
Well, I certainly wouldn't like it. So you see that there's these, you walk past some more sort of well-established shops as well. A nice cobbler and a hat maker and people making unusual art, people making functional tools, all sorts of things.
Is there anybody?
Hat.
Hats, yeah,
Cool.
hats. What sort of hat do you think you're envisioning?
What have they got?
They've got a yellow sort of bucket hat.
Stop.
They've
You struck gold. You don't need to keep digging, my friend. No, I'm checking.
Oh.
What were you gonna?
I was gonna say.
Do you not want a hat?
I was just fucking around. Don't worry.
I'll delete my hat file. Dumps 8 gig of just one really big picture. Yellow
I spent 1,000 hours on this ad.
20 quintillion pixels. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say. Do we pass a tailor by any chance?
I'm sure that you'd come across a tailor at some point. Yeah.
Because Gesh would be keen to replace his cloak, not with anything that's gonna, get me buffs or whatever. Just
Yeah.
Just
Why not?
well,
It could.
it
You
could
don't
indeed,
know
but
what
it's
you
not.
wanna get.
It's more of an aesthetic thing.
Mm.
And actually, yeah, just in keeping with his.
Yeah, so you eventually you walk into, you see that there's a sign that sort of indicates a tailor, and you step into this relatively ordinary, sort of quite humble, sort of wooden walled shop. And as you step inside, you can see that there's all these various sewing machines and everything laid out, and within this halfling steps forward, and you see he's got a bit of a slightly crooked hand and gnarled knuckles from having spent so much time with his little fingers kind of stitching things together, and he steps forwards and he says, "Oh, a visitor. Nice to meet you. My name's Barnabas Stonegate." And as he steps forward, he holds up a hand to shake your hand.
Good day to you, Barnabas. I seek to replace this here singed cloak of mine. I am somewhat naked in the wilds without it.
Indeed, yes. May I have a look at it?
Of course, and I sort of whip it round like that and offer it to him.
Sure. You see that in his small sort of halfling body, it kind of takes up a lot, and as he begins to kind of puts it down on the table and begins to sort of inspect everything. You notice as well in here, you're sort of having to stoop slightly, and a bit of a kind of
While I know it might not quite be your way, I know you like to repair things, I can assume, and get life out of them. I'd rather fancy treating myself to something new.
He says, "Oh yes, very well. Sorry, I'm just most fascinated by what history and stories have been through these fabrics." He says, "Of course. Take a look around. We have all sorts of capes. We might have a few more in the back, in fact. would you like to follow me? And as he comes through, he begins.
And I knock my head and I'm like, oh!
Gendy. As you walk through, you sort of notice that he begins to kind of begin to yap a little bit, and he goes, he kind of looks at you and he says, how long have you been here then? Concordant opposition?
All of 5 seconds.
He says,
It's quite some place, this.
He says, indeed. I used to live on the material plane myself.
How long have you been here?
Time moves a little strange here. I'd say, in terms of how my body's been aging, it must be around 20 years or so. As he mutters on, he says, I used to be quite a powerful mage, you know.
Left it all behind. What were you running from?
He says, well, that's a much longer story than I care to admit, but I must say, being free from it all, the worries and strains of how the magic was moving around me, here it's just me and the cloth. He says,
Yeah, all the clothes are like crusty.
He doesn't need starch, he's got his own jizz.
He says, let me see here, and he kind of pulls open this drawer, and he says, you say you're a wild man, are you?
I like to think so, yes.
He says, well, in that case you'll want a sturdy cloak. Do you have a preference of colour? We have greens and browns and greys. Do you prefer something a little more flamboyant?
Maybe a green with some grey.
It's interesting. Let me see. And he eventually pulls out this cloak, and he says,
Perhaps on the inside you could jazz it up for me.
maybe it's like I would say that it's either this way or the other. Perhaps it's sort of a certain colour on the outside, more sort of hardy material, and then a softer, almost like when you get like an inner lining. Like
an inner lining that's got some nice style, a bit of pizzazz on it. Yeah.
Maybe just sort of like some subtly embroidered sort of silver string or something, making a sort of only a pattern that's only really noticeable if you know to look for it.
I'd say golden to go with the Veiled Vengeance though.
Okay.
Very slightly golden.
Yeah, no, you can say that for sure. He says, yes, this cloak should do quite well. It's made from a strange sort of wool I acquired. The seller called it Merrin wool. Said it was from a hardy animal. Never heard of them myself. He kind of lays it.
How does it? Yeah, go on. How does it feel to touch? Is it quite?
It's quite coarse actually. Yeah. But you can tell that just from the way that it's been. Not loomed necessarily, but the way it's been bound together, sort of thing. It's sort of very, very dense. So it would probably be able to, you could take a slash of a sword. You could sit on it in the wet and put on wet grass, and probably not even get a wet bum, sort of thing. Cool. He says, most useful for your sort, adventuring kinds. You see the inner lining has all manner of fine pockets as well. He says,
just what I'm after.
He says, excellent. Well, I'm charging 150 gold for this one.
That seems very reasonable. Here you are, and I'll hand him 150 gold.
He says, indeed. I don't like to extort the people who come in here. I offer fine prices.
Well, I've dealt with some rather scheming merchants in the past, and this seems very reasonable of you to be charging what you are.
He says, indeed. I wouldn't buy anything from the stalls out there unless it's food. If you need anything proper, a lot of the shopkeepers set up here have established themselves well. Otherwise, they wouldn't last long.
And being so well established as yourself, perhaps you could aid our party and give some guidance as how we might be able to get to Mechanus.
Oh, you wish to get to Mechanus? Yes. Well. Of course, you'd have to make your way to the Outlands, and then through to Archeron. Although they're rather strict on who they allow in there.
Indeed, the keys to get to the Outlands. We know what to do from there.
He says, There's all manner of ways out, although it's normally best you seek counsel with one of the more respected individuals here. If you just try to leave to the Outlands with unspoken business, you might be blocked off by some of the people there. As you make your way through the Outlands, typically the portals through it are guarded by individuals who wish to survey those who are entering and leaving.
Could you recommend which one of these individuals' favour we might be able to earn?
He says, yes, there's the worshippers of Primus. They're situated up in the Clockwork Cathedral. If you're able to get on the good side of what's his name again? I haven't been there in quite some time.
Orcus?
No, it's the Architectus Prime. That's the hierarchy they have. Look for the Architectus Prime. I'm sure if you're worthy of being in Mechanus, he'd be happy to grant his blessing for you to get to Archeron in the first place.
Well, thank you for your business and thank you for your counsel.
Yes, of course.
One quick question.
Mm-hmm.
If we're in a tube,
Yes.
where's the light coming from? So it's magical. There is magic.
Or maybe light's magic and they do something else here. Or maybe you're the donut. Yeah, who knows where light's coming from in here, but it seems like daytime.
Okay.
So as you sort of pay up and you find this cloak, kind of, you wear it quite nicely. It's quite a heavy cloak.
Happy with that.
It's got a nice sort of hood, and it attaches quite neatly around your front. You kind of enjoy inspecting some of the pockets and thinking about what you might types of bits and bobs you might be keeping there.
Already popping a couple of little vials in here and there. The ones for easy access.
As you step out, you both see Gesh with a nice new cloak. Do a little twirl.
Yeah, do a little dance. As you I can't wait to show Dragos this.
as you are walking along, you see that there's a gnome in a sort of scribbling away in a shop that catches your eye, Norwin, because the sort of logo that they have on a swinging signpost outside the shop, it's just got a very beautiful golden quill on it, and as you kind of look through the window a little bit, briefly quelling your sort of background anxiety, you see a gnome sort of scribbling away there, and he's just got the most strikingly beautifully well-made quill you've ever seen. And it's slightly eye-catching.
I would like to talk to this gnome.
It's enough to draw an anxious Dorwin in.
The gnome's sort of scribbling away, and then he slowly looks up to the window as he sees Dorwin just kind of breathing on the glass. So you just you go step over to the door. So you step into his shop and you see that he kind of looks up from his scribblings, and you see that this you see that the gnome in there kind of looks up, and he's kind of wearing these fine red robes, and you see him scribbling away, but you kind of glance at him briefly before you're sort of taken away by it. It's almost like a library of different quills, basically, that are all varying in design and from different birds. From some of the feathers you recognise, some of them are from entirely different things. He even has what would for us we'd recognise as pens and stuff like that, and all these various inks and everything scattered around. In addition to some of the finest sort of like vellum and parchment and everything you see stacked up in different colours. He sort of looks up and he says, Hello, can I help you?
Yes. Well, maybe I was just looking at your wares here. They seem mighty fine. Do you make these? Where do you get such lovely implements?
He says, yes, well, I'm sure you'll be loath to believe it, but many of the quills here are actually hold quite enchantments of varying degrees. Of course, they don't operate here, but nonetheless, people have come to trust my goods. Materials for such things, well, there's no better place to get materials from across the multitude of planes, and even many a demi-plane as well. Such dealings I have with all manner of folks, you wouldn't believe.
I see. Wow. Well, yes, you've amassed a mighty collection. What sort of enchantments can you put on a quill, might I ask?
He says, I'm not too interested in anything overly powerful. I'm not all about the glitz and glamour of all these sorcerers and whatnot. However, the sort of quills I have here will, well, there's all manner of things. There's things to perhaps help you write a little faster, perhaps give you more clarity of thought in your writing. There's some that will aid you in being a most wonderful artist. I've got all manner of effects.
Do you have any that can remove ink from a page?
He says, yes, indeed, of course.
Oh, fantastic. Would you happen to have one that's fairly robust? You see, I travel a lot, and my poor old quill here has seen better days.
Natty
Yeah.
old.
He goes, oh,
Fella.
goodness me. Yes, I hope it's not. As he looks at it, he says, must be sentimental. And sort of places it down with a little bit of disgust. He says, yes, and you consider yourself a fine scribe, do you?
I try my best. I certainly write a lot.
He says, indeed. Well, we can't be having you using such tools. It sits strange with me. Come, and he kind of walks you along, and he says, I'm sure you'd be interested in many of these most beautiful quills, and while they can be protected with a travel case, they're not inherently robust themselves. However, move along here. I found these. These were shipped in to me, actually. They are almost like featherless quills, and you see that these various... It's almost like it's essentially a pen, but it's like quills without feather strands, so it's just like a metallic, quite fine, thin thing. He says, they tend to be quite finely engraved. He says, they're quite pricey, but they will really stand the test of time, made of fine materials, gold and the like.
That does sound like it'd be perfect for me. I seem to give my possessions quite the battering.
He kind of looks you up and down as you say that.
I think I'm very interested in purchasing one. Do you have any that could either remove ink or perhaps could write invisible ink? Is that a thing?
He says, yes, we have various things like that, although most of these tend to be vessels for such things. I've got all manner of inks, including invisible ink, which would only reveal itself when burned or when exposed to heat or exposed to the sun or perhaps even the moon. We have inks that would only reveal themselves at the touch of nature, or from the even more extreme examples, and they may require the impression of a dragon. There's all manner of things.
I think I'll take a pen that can remove ink and a bottle of moon ink.
He says, very well. As he kind of looks through the different pens, you see he's pulling out all these really, initially kind of sort of really flashy ones, and then he goes over to ones which are almost a little bit more kind of a little bit more basic in a way, but sort of finely crafted, a bit more functional things. And so he's got some which are sort of matte metals. He's got one which almost looks slightly wooden and stuff. And he's kind of showing you different ones to see which ones you're interested in. What's the sort of vibe of a pen sort of device that you'd be interested in?
I think I'd be looking for like a brass metal one.
Yeah. And
or something like a dull brown.
Yeah.
But a bit shiny.
Sure. Yeah. So there'd probably be one something similar to what you're imagining. these are a lot thinner than pens, and these are, you still dip them in ink. He explains to you that some of the tips just take in small amounts of ink, while some of them will sort of pull ink in a spiral further up the pen. It can be a bit messy, but it's good for people who hold the pen higher and things like that. So it's giving you those options and stuff. But yeah, so he explains it's not the. He's offering that as an ordinary pen because he doesn't really like your quill very much. But he says he does explain that he's got a pen which can also reverse the placing of ink as well, which has a more. It doesn't have like a fine tip, as fine a tip. It's more like almost like a brush.
Sure. I'll take both then.
Of course. And as for the inks, you wanted some of the ink that reveals itself only in moonlight.
Yes, that sounds pretty interesting. I'd like to give it a go.
And can I interest you in any other findings in the meantime?
No, I don't think so. I think just that one will do.
He says very well, and he begins sort of packing them up, and he says
maybe just like some nice regular ink.
Yeah, sort of some decent.
Yeah.
He says right. The pens, the erasing pen is rather valuable. It would cost you around 700 gold, and as for the lesser pen, it's not such a steep price. It's 75 gold, and as for the inks, the moonlight ink, that would be another 150 gold, and the regular inks you have there are about altogether come to 35 gold.
Cool. 960.
He says, are you comfortable with the price?
Oh yes, that's fine. Being able to remove some of my scribblings over the years would make my notes much easier to read. Definitely worth it.
Ah, wonderful, wonderful. I'm glad to hear it. Now, can I take a name for the receipt here? I like to keep a ledger of my affairs.
Yes, Dimble.
Dimble. Very well. And what is your primary plane?
Material.
Material. Thank you very much. Okay, wonderful. It was a pleasure doing business with you, Dimble.
Yes, thank you.
And with that, you're on your way with a bag and a grin.
Sort of like peruse the things just like as I leave.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Okay. Have you been mid-journeying some
I'm just
place?
trying to do a mid-journey for a cloak. Yeah, it's not quite getting. I mean, I do like this cool outline, but
That one's quite kind of cool.
yeah, it's kind of cool, isn't it? Getting it to render another one, see what's going on.
I haven't seen your Harrower Plague Herald ones.
Yeah, that's from
What's that?
Gloomhaven.
Oh.
They're pretty fire.
Whoa.
Pretty cool, isn't it?
That one of 4, the most recent one of 4.
Yeah.
4 with TH.
4.
The
Four.
fourth
Oh,
one.
1 and 4, this one, yeah. I think that's what he's on.
Yeah, it's neat. Okay. Alright, so with that then, Gesh, do you have information to share with the party?
Yes, so, what was his name? Barrius
Architectus. Oh, no, the person. Barnabas.
Barnabas, that was it. Yes, sir. Little halfling tailor there. Barnabas says we are to seek out the worshippers of Primus in the Clockwork Tower.
Good call.
Clockwork Cathedral.
Clockwork
Yeah,
Cathedral.
nice, yeah.
The Architectus Prime. Is that right? Is who we are to seek out. Gain his favour. We should be granted passage to the Outlands.
Cool. Let's go then.
Excellent. We've got a lead.
Got some new toys there, have you, Doreen?
Oh, these are simply tools.
He grins coyly.
Without magic, you're still finding a way, aren't you?
As you guys make your way through the streets, kind of marveling all this different stuff and sort of seeing a couple of demons, you see a couple of eucalypts and some other weird things, and you sort of
So Ugolith.
these types of devil, which are like they're actually relatively peaceful, to be fair. If they're it's Eugoliths I'm thinking of.
You just typed in Architect's Prime.
Yeah.
Not what I was expecting.
Oh, sorry, it's a Eugoloth, not a Eugolith. They are devils, so they're evil and stuff, but they are like they're sort of like the accountants of the devil world. So they do make these horrible deals and stuff, and they want to gain more power, but they're a little bit more
HMRC, basically.
Sorry?
They're HMRC.
Yeah, they're devil, yeah. But a bit less evil. And so there's a couple of stuff that rubs you the wrong way, but kind of seeing everything not be that like aggy is also kind of a bit like
refreshing.
A bit refreshing, yeah. And you find as you're walking along, all these various stalls calling out and then peddling random goods and stuff. You hear one person call out, and you just hear, "Hey, Eladrin!" Obviously calling over to you. This is something you would approach, you think?
Yes, yeah. What do they look like?
So you see that there's this kind of slightly overshaded stall, and you see that it's like essentially almost like a barbecue stall, and kind of a waving hand. You can see that it's also the hand of another Eladrin, and as they're calling over, they kind of step forward, and you see that there's this Eladrin kind of in a somewhere between sort of summer and autumn, like they're kind of orange leaves and everything. They kind of hang all very shaggily, almost a bit like she's got this kind of droopiness about her, like a weeping willow sort of thing.
Cool.
And she says, "Come," and gestures you over, and says, "Oh, it's so nice to see another one of my kind. It's so rarely any of us are in the concordant opposition."
Yes, I must say I'm very surprised to see one of our kin here. How did you find yourself here?
Says, "Oh, I've been here, well, almost as long as I can remember, but the calling I feel when I see another of my kind is nothing short of beautiful." He says, "Here, please, I call you over. Look at my wares." And you see that kind of sizzling around are all these various, like, very strange exotic vegetables and leaves and everything, all kind of like sizzling away, kind of coated in different...
Just cooking them?
Yeah. It was sort of coated in different spices and smells and stuff are coming from. I'd say that this is like... it's nothing like any food you've ever seen, even from the Fae, but she's got the right sort of thing for what you want.
Right. Okay. Kind of still a homely cooking, even though
but
it's
foreign. Yeah. So it's like it's alien, but it's
nostalgic still, kind of thing.
Yeah. She says, "My name's Jara, and you are?"
My name is, I can't remember the fake name that I made for myself. Gandalf.
Didn't you call him Chodas?
He's called Chodas.
I can't remember. I did have a fake name. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
Let's go with Glorfindel.
Sure. She says, Glorfindel was it? I on the odd occasion where I've had an Eladrin come past, I always want to know anything. What? Tell me of the Fae, of our homeland.
Well, it's been a while since I've been there. Not much has changed recently.
Can I say, as Polana is saying this, Gesh comes over and just sort of gestures and offers a couple of gold pieces
to get some
food while you're listening to that. I'll then exchange and I'll munch through some of this.
Okay, yeah,
food.
nice.
Yes, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know how long since you've been here, but I'm sure not much has changed in the old Feywild. The Unseelie and the Seelie Court are still battling back and forth. I don't really know.
Just yes. Well, I came here when I was very, very young. I don't even remember how, in all honesty. You see that as she kind of swirls around to gather up a plate for Gesh, her kind of drooping, long hair kind of swishes around with all these sort of leaves, things orangy leaves.
Just as she's kind of talking, I'm also gonna offer a few coins and grab a dish of whatever.
Yeah. She said she kind of, for you specifically, sort of suggests specific things. Makes you this sort of, almost like a poke bowl of different things. And yeah, you hand her a few coins or whatever. She says, "Yes, it's more. The Fae is not something I remember ever witnessing myself. That's why I called you over. I feel like our people are so beautiful, but I've made a home here now." She says, "You're donned in fine armour, very, very beautiful. Where on earth did you acquire such armour?"
I earned it. I worked my way up through the paladin army.
Just through the order.
Yeah, the order of the paladins for the Sealy Court, and I slowly worked my way up the ranks and earned these pieces that you see before you.
Wow, it's incredible. So, what are you doing here? Are you on some kind of holy mission or something?
Well, we're actually trying to save the world, if you'll believe that.
She says, "Oh, I would. People say that all the time." She says, "And what world would that be?"
The material plane.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, if you end up coming back this way at all, please be sure to stop by. It's wonderful to see one of my own.
Yes, and I thank you for this food. It's absolutely delicious.
Yes, ingredients come from all over the plains. They're really quite something, aren't they?
I have a question. How is it that one leaves the concordant opposition?
Well, I've never tried it myself, but I've heard the people who come and go. They often talk about needing some kind of what would you call it? Like a verification in some way. They need the backing of somebody who's well respected in concordant opposition to be granted through. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from going to the Abyss or Carcerai. They welcome people in with open arms.
Yeah. Well, hopefully not too soon, I should think. But I thank you for your food and I thank you for your time.
Wonderful. Yes. I'll be seeing you then, Glorfindel.
Male or female?
Female.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'll flick a gold coin and say, "Keep up the good work, my lady. This scrub's lovely." I don't know why it's so nice.
Anyway, I've got to go on road. Okay then. So with that, you guys have a bit of a directive to make your way to the Clockwork Cathedral. Architect's Prime. Let me just click on something, which would be this one. I need to get better at knowing where my notes are, which of my notes are where.
You've got a lot of things you need to get better at.
Yeah. Yeah, wonderful. Okay. So, you guys begin making your way to the Clockwork Cathedral. As I say, there's sort of similar things all over the place. Maybe just naturally have yourself spend a few coins of whatever, just from various little things you might have been interested in or food you've tried along the way.
Any armories?
Yeah, you go. Yeah. Oh, fine. Yeah. So, wow, I don't do my ranks. That looks way cooler. Yeah. And after a little while, you begin to sort of get to the Clockwork Cathedral, and you see that this cathedral itself is actually. I mean, you would have seen it from before. Very slowly, as you've approached it, it's maybe taken you maybe 10-15 minutes or so to get there. Maybe a bit to still see it from a bit of a distance. And you notice that it's actually slightly rotated from where it was before. And as you begin to get closer, you kind of hear this kind of low rumble as the entire cathedral is actually slowly shifting. The cathedral itself is of an incredible, it's an insane scale. It's absolutely enormous. And around there's all these kind of other gears which are almost...
It can't be that big, we're in a donut.
It's a big donut. No, donuts are small. Oscar.
Where's the jam?
Yeah. Don't ask that. No one's ever come back from seeing the jam. Bit of jam. What would the jam be? Of a
Souls of all beings.
pretty good.
Sounds pretty tasty.
An eternal soul, don't it?
Yeah. Dunkin' Donuts has really stepped their game up recently.
Yeah, they just sell one donut to one person that contains every soul. Yeah. Can I move? Thanks. So yeah, and as you begin to approach, you can see that the sort of walls and scope of the cathedral as well, like bits of it, are also kind of rotating along with each other, all sort of perfectly ordered and ticking away perfectly, and sort of scattered around are various sort of golden statues, these sort of almost slightly steampunky statues of various highly regarded entities that sort of embody these elements of pure lore. Interestingly, you'd see that there's quite a few paladins around, and who have come to sort of witness this place of complete lore. And in addition, there's also quite a few Modrons hanging around as well, just doing their thing.
Modrons with the one-eyed guys from...
Yeah, these little clockworky fellows that kind of seem to... The way that they act and behave almost seems slightly illogical, but they know what they're up to.
Can I ask a question about this place? Like, everyone we've met so far has been from the material plane. How common is it for somebody to come? Like,
Well,
I assumed this would be like like these would be otherworldly. I know obviously you've got a massive mixture of things.
Bearing in mind, we have sought out vendors that are associated with the material plane, so there would still be all the other stuff there. We just haven't sought that because we don't know
I
it.
suppose so.
You know?
and most
We
of the
just have
creatures,
interactions with people that are from there.
most of the creatures in the concordant opposition have come from the material plane or from the Fae or the Shallow Fell or something. Because one, that's where the most beings are. So some of the more alien things are rarer because they're from further afield. Most creatures things on the material plane have come from the outer planes, but most of the things that come from the outer planes but have decided to remain in the outer planes wouldn't leave, really.
Right.
So they wouldn't. There's no major reason for them to necessarily come to concordant opposition.
Okay.
There's probably a few out there who have never visited the material plane, but most things here have decided to come here or have some business here and sort of migrated here. If that makes sense.
From the material plane.
Yeah, because they're like escaping something. But if you're in your outer plane, and you're sort of content there, why would you go?
So, is it common for people to come here and then go back to the material plane? Because we've never heard about this place before, and yet.
No, it's sort of like most of the people who come here are. So a lot of people who exist here are born here, have been here as long as they can remember, because it's obviously just like a functional residential city. But the people from the who have come here from the material plane itself, like Barnabas, for example, will have been powerful people who have managed to find some way to get to the outer planes or get to the Outlands specifically, or whatever.
See.
Yeah, that's the general.
That's
way it is.
my cape.
My cape.
That's why I just put a
Sounds like a type of monkey, doesn't it?
photo of it, the render of it.
See,
Yeah.
my cape.
Group chat.
Check it out.
Fuck me, that looks so real. That's very cool.
Whoa. Whoa, yeah, how do you make it look so real?
What's that?
The cake.
The cape that I pasted. That looks unbelievably real.
Like, just all the lighting's spot on.
Yeah.
And all the folds and
Yeah, it looks
shadows
like
and
a
stuff.
well-taken photograph.
Yeah.
Even the depth of field. And even the nearer leaves and stuff are less depth of field even. It's like actual depth of field. It's cool.
Yeah, sick. I suppose because most of the stuff that we look at from Mid-Journey is like beasts and magical and stuff like that. So seeing something that's just like could be a real thing shows off how powerful it can be.
Yeah, what happens if we get the beasts and stuff and we say make it look like a photo?
You can do that.
Try that with one of our cool demons or something.
Oh, can I do it
It
with
just
my
puts-
render of
it's
the
the same-
Afriti?
It's the same photo.
I'll do it with that one.
Oh, okay.
Make that look real. Shall we fucking paedophile?
Yeah, and so after a little while, you kind of enter the area of the Clockwork Cathedral. There's quite a lot of Warforged here as well. And after you kind of approach this...
You're up, Dorwin. Go and tinker.
You see there's this one person who looks a little bit more approachable. It's this human cleric who's wearing this sort of long golden robe that's just kind of got all these different gears like embroidered into it. And you see that they're just kind of, you know, walking around rather peacefully, kind of looking between people and stuff. And you know, she looks like an approachable person to ask about this place, basically. If you wanted to approach her. So who's leading the charge?
I approach and say,
I assume because you're quite a regal being and this is a cathedral, it seems most appropriate for Polana to take the lead. Unless Dorwin would want to.
and I would say, good afternoon? Is it an afternoon? Good morning?
Good time.
As you
You can't see the time. It's like 4,000
Like immediately just insulting.
Yeah.
As soon as you open your mouth.
As you approach, they just say, "Oh, greetings. What can I help you with?"
Well, me and my friends here were trying to make our way to Arcanus.
Architectus Prime.
Oh, that was the thing.
Oh, Arcanus. Oh, the place. Oh,
Yeah. We were looking to get the blessing of. We were told to look. We were told to come here to find Architectus Prime in order to gain his blessing and his help to make our way to Arcanus. Is this something that you could help us with, or could you point us in the direction of Architectus Prime?
She says, yes, indeed. Architectus Prime is holding a sermon currently. Tell me, are you a follower of Primus?
Yes.
Paladin?
No.
What the guy?
That guy's the shit. Oh, dude, he's doing a sermon right now. Let's go.
So much clockwork.
I can't say
So
that.
Primus is the god, like the god of lawfulness, basically.
Oh fuck. Okay, I thought we were just coming to meet a priest or something.
Oh no, so Architectus Prime is like the Pope of.
Oh, okay,
Primus.
I see.
Primus resides in.
Right,
He's the one who's
see.
locked in this eternal battle with Orcus.
With Orcus,
Yeah.
with a killer whale.
That's an orca.
Right.
There's many of them. It's a whole pod.
Just a god being taken down by 5 orcas.
It's like, dude, they're really smart.
They keep knocking me off my ice shelf. I don't know what the fuck to do. It's just a penguin. It's Primus. He'll give me a sermon. Give me fish.
It's just like a petting zoo.
Anyway, sorry.
Go on.
Such wisdom.
Yeah, are you a follower of Primus? He says
No.
that.
No, I'm not a follower. No.
I see, and so you say that you're seeking entry into Mechanus.
Yes.
Most interesting. Well, I'm sure it's something that Architectures Prime may consider, although perhaps, he says, it is typically the followers of Primus that are most likely to gain entry into Mechanus. But I'm sure you have your reasons.
Something I was going to ask earlier was this sheet that we have, this document.
Mm.
What exactly does it say? Like, what kind of thing is it?
Well, so
because it's
earlier
not
on-
forged, but it's not for us, right? It was stolen.
Yeah.
So
so it's sort of when Dorwin used his Ring of Understanding on it earlier, because the patterns and symbols on it are sort of incomprehensible. It was almost, unfortunately, it was kind of still sort of incomprehensible because it was almost like binary. It was like also the equivalent of like lines of code. Like it was.
no one understands this.
It was this very just sort of like, it was like the ultimate. It was like so efficient in terms of the text that it would have on it that
It's
it's
almost
like
unreadable.
yeah,
even
it's
if
like
you
doesn't make
understand the symbols themselves, kind of thing.
yeah.
Okay, I see. So we have no idea what this says. We just have to try and bluff our way through with it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
She says, here in the Clockwork Cathedral, we are open to many of the deities that represent lawfulness in various capacities. Primus, however, is the one true ruler of lawfulness. She says, go ahead, join the sermon. Just ensure that you step in line with the rest of the visitors. And,
of course. Thank you for your time.
And as you look over, you see that there's incredibly organised rows of people going in. It's mostly sort of Warforged and Modrons that are perfectly in step, and there's others who are sort of trying to do it, and some who are good, some are not so much. So more mechanic beings, as it were. So yeah. Okay, so you make your way in, and you're sort of after a while of sort of being in this queue, sort of filing in, and people, getting into seats sort of perfectly in line. The hall itself is enormous, and you can see that there's these stained glass windows along all the outer edge, and then there's one final in the middle, and each of them depicts sort of various lawful deities. You see that one of them sort of partially of the way through shows Bahamut as a great platinum dragon.
Sorry, just one thing back to the previous session again. They said not to say that we were being sent by Bahamut or something, didn't they?
This was more so like in Mechanus itself.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that could hold some sway here.
Especially if there's a plaque on the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Potentially.
Because
Yeah,
I was gonna
I
gonna say it, but I thought I remembered somebody saying that. But
No, I would say that's a reasonable thing to assume here. It's very sort of Mechanus-y, but perhaps seeing that might adjust how you feel about it.
What do you see? Sorry.
One of the stained glass windows depicted Bahamut on it on the way in, but all of them are sort of dwarfed by this main stained glass window, which is probably, is probably a good sort of 200 meters tall, and that kind of archway shape. And in the middle of it, sort of surrounded by these clockwork gears which all feed into each other. On the front of it is this sort of depiction of an enormous sort of turquoise blue humanoid, kind of Dr. Manhattan shade of colours, with these 4 grey arms, and he's entirely faceless in the depiction, and he's kind of got his arms spread out like that, and you see that his hands are kind of like
ticking.
Oh, I was
in
going
the
to say
hands of a clock.
No. His hands seem to be like grasping various cogs, sort of thing.
Right. Okay.
And he kind of stands there in a slightly sort of crucifixy position, you sort of fall in line, and you see at the front of the altar comes stepping over this Warforged, who kind of walks perfectly onto the stage and turns and faces everyone. As he goes to deliver the sermon, you see that he initially just sort of talks in this Modron language, which is almost like ticks and clocks and little binary words and stuff like that, and then he pauses for a moment, and then he repeats that, but in the common tongue, and he's basically, the sort of things he's saying are just how like lawfulness is the the ultimate thing that binds everyone together. It allows for the beauty of the passage of time and all of this stuff. And he's just general sermony stuff relating to the significance of lawfulness and the power of Primus. He goes on to talk about the sort of strain and worry of these dark times as Primus is lost in this battle, and how through everyone's prayer and belief in him, perhaps someday he will escape, sort of thing. So you kind of get that, and then once the sermon's ended, there's like a procession of Q to go and meet with Architectus Prime as he provides his counsel to those approaching. And you find that you sort of you're waiting for a while, like a good couple of hours, as he talks to each individual that comes up to him, and he provides them with some teaching, and then eventually the three of you are sort of stood in front of him, and he says, "How can I help you, my children?" And you see that he's now that you're stood in front of him, he's a sort of completely golden warforged with these sort of glowing orange eyes. His mouth just kind of opens and closes as he talks. It doesn't articulate like a lot of other warforged do, and you can kind of hear this constant little whirring and ticking that's just like perfectly on beat, sort of emanating from his body, but otherwise he's heavily robed. So yeah, he says that.
I'll step forward and kind of give a light little bow and say, "It is an honor to meet you, Your Holiness." Would that be acceptable? Prime.
Yeah.
Your prime.
Yeah.
You want a prime?
Our guest will also give a bow.
We were hoping for your assistance. We have been sent here on a quest from Bahamut himself, and we need to make journey to Arcanus.
As I see, and to do so, you would need to we need to travel along the Outlands, no doubt.
That is the plan.
Indeed.
It says, and you need my blessing.
Yes, and your guidance to get there.
I see, and may you provide me with any logical proof of your claim.
Yeah, we could show him some of maybe a page or two of the documents. No,
We're not going to do that.
we're not gonna do that.
They love order and shit. So us
Oh, sorry.
bullshitting our way in and forging documents and stealing
Sorry.
and stuff is probably not going to come
I
off very well.
thought that they were.
No, those documents are for in Arcanus. He's going to help us get there.
Mm-hmm.
That might have been fine, but in my head, I think he might have been like, "You shouldn't be doing this. This goes in the face of order." You know.
Because we were given those. Remind me, we were given the documents.
So when we're in Arcanus, you have to
Right.
have a reason to be there, and those documents help us.
But is he not asking for our reason?
No, he wants proof that we have been sent by Bahamut.
Oh, fine.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, do we have any proof that we've been sent by Bahamut? I mean, I would unfurl my wings that he gave us, but I can't. Can I? They're magical, right?
Yeah, the magic.
Yeah. Let me check.
You can show them the absence of your thorn.
I used to have a thorn here.
Do we still have his scale?
No. Could I mirror of scry Bahamut?
Magic.
So that Serenity Stone that. No, well, that's from the Dreadnought Peak, so I need to be quiet.
I'm afraid that we have no tangible proof that we've been sent by Bahamut, but I can assure you he is the one not only that led us to Lunia, where we have just had counsel with him, but he is the one that also guided us here, to you and gave us the quest that we now seek in Arcanus.
He says, I see, and what can you tell me of where you found him?
He was resting comfortably in his palace in the second layer of Celestia.
With his 5 golden dragon companions. 10?
12.
12! That's way too many dragons,
That's his 5 golden. It's like, no, dude, there was 10.
I was closer.
Would I be able to recite the names of these dragons? Because I think that would probably go a long way.
Would you?
No. Can I roll to see if I'd be able to do
You
that?
could try that.
What
I
would
mean,
be-
if anyone's going to recall the names, it's going to be that little nerd.
Sure. I might have known them anyway.
Can I roll just to persuade him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With,
roll
with
persuasion.
advantage because of these boys.
Because of the what?
Because of the boys.
Wait, shall I see if I can get some of the names and see if that we can age a persuasion roll?
Yeah.
To get you
Would if he can
Okay,
remember
yeah.
the thing, would I get advantage on the persuasion?
All right. So, yeah, we can. Let's go with that. So, what? Give me a roll to remember.
So Romano, you're saying not
Yeah.
to use the documents because this architect is prime. We're not on Mechanus yet, right?
No.
So, but is he like basically an ambassador for Mechanus in
No.
here in
No.
this? So what would his problem be with us having these documents?
Because he is the Pope of Order, and us lying and manipulating our way into a different place.
How
Well,
do you
we're
know
not.
we're
We're not lying.
Because we don't speak
Code.
Modron, we
Yeah.
don't speak this language, and we're going to hand him these documents, which we have no idea what they say.
But Bahamut said they'll get us in.
And also,
Yeah, but
didn't Dorwin, when we weren't here, didn't you read them and see?
But
No.
And also, you wouldn't
This guy
really be able
can-
to be able to have this conversation anyway at the moment. would
yeah,
you?
fair.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's not do it now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe
Well,
I've got this completely wrong, in which case
I
I
just
apologise.
like
but
if,
I think
if this guy can figure them out as being fake and a lie, then why can't the people in the place? You know, what's the
because I think, from my understanding,
I know, just thinking.
yeah,
Not gonna
this is
affect
like
anything now.
this is just outside of the game. From my understanding, the Mechanus is so kind of well-oiled and drilled. Somebody will just ask for papers. We show our papers. We don't have to justify that. Then they'll go, oh, they're here doing this thing. Okay, fine, and leave.
Fair.
Whereas if we show, oh, why the fuck is Bahamut sending you to do this fucking boring ass task? You know, he might actually question it. Whereas the other world will just be like, oh yeah, that's fine, go.
Sure.
What'd you get, Fergie?
A 25.
Check your Facebook messages. Do any of you guys have? You wouldn't happen to have a laptop charger that fits that, would you?
What is it?
Just a little hole.
I don't think so.
A little hole.
Unless it's if I've got one. it'll probably
Jeez,
be-
you got a few bananas in there, boy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing fruit till noon.
Fair.
Just checking
Only
that
fruit
cupboard
and
will
milks.
there's
Yeah.
put some
Pretty
fruits
nice.
in there.
It means you don't have to think about breakfast at all.
Why? So you don't have to think about breakfast or...
Yeah, that's a big part of it, and like, you know, it's just nice because fruit doesn't keep me full very long. It means that I'll like, instead of just having a breakfast and then going on, it means I'll
USB-C.
I'll wake up, I'll have a banana,
What?
and then an hour later I'll have a
Like
mango, and then
Dell
an hour
and
later I'll have
some
a
circle,
apple, and
yeah.
it's lunchtime, so I'm about 3 pieces of fruit in the morning, I feel pretty energised.
Fair?
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, fair.
I fucking love fruit.
I fucking love
fruit.
Yeah.
Fruit's fucking
Let me just
down,
check
yeah.
that box.
And it's cheap.
I made myself a wild drink granola. I made my own homemade granola over the weekend. I put
Oh yeah, I saw that on your video.
I had it with like raspberries and
I'll probably be alright, we're getting on solid.
straws and shit. That's alright.
It doesn't take USB-C power, does it?
No. It's alright, I'll probably be able to last.
Sure.
Yeah, so
Sure. So they are Zarfalion, Oromithrax, Darkarion, Gilderath, Thalorion, Vernexar, Eldegost, Xanthalor, Azorlind, Omharaz, Luxarion, and Fenrath.
Nice.
says, and you met them yourselves, did you?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
We
Just for reference, my persuasion was 26.
26. He says,
we meditated in their presence and gained power.
He says, indeed, I believe you are telling the truth. Not even not even the. It is all but the highest clerics and paladins that would know of Bahamut's full order. And if you have come here, then the only logical explanation for now is that he would have sent you, given the knowledge you possess. Very well. I will provide with you a script of my blessing. Take it to the gates, and you will be able to depart to the Outlands and eventually to Arcanus.
Which one's Arcanus? Or is that the fucking
Arcanus
city?
is the city that is the
in
gate.
Mechanus.
Well, it's the city in the Outlands that leads to Mechanus. Sorry, it's really confusing. You see that he removes a piece of like this little square of parchment off the altar next to him, and with his finger he just kind of goes like a printer almost. It just creates this little thing, and he hands it to you. What is it?
Don't worry.
Come on, it's so stupid.
No, don't
What
worry.
is it?
It was a stupid joke and I made myself giggle, but
Oh,
it's
wasn't
not
it?
worth it. No, it's
Go
not,
on, it's gotta be
it's
so-
not worth it.
I won't laugh, I promise.
Was it Primus you said to call him?
Yes.
No.
You address him as a Primus, no?
No, Primus is the god.
No,
No,
but as
Prime.
in Prime.
Yeah, he's Architectus Prime is his
Right.
title.
We are incredibly grateful for this, your primeness.
Again.
You so prime.
Thank
You
you.
didn't know it's possible, but somehow his light bulb eyes squint slightly.
Just like flicker.
And how exactly is it that we reach Arcanus and Mechanus beyond?
Says, well, you will have to travel throughout the Outlands. They are not massively dangerous to those who are strong-willed. But as long as you keep heading in the same direction as the path you set out from, you will make your way to Arcanus.
Well, cool. And thank you again. And with that, we'll step away.
This is very well. Best of luck. Actually, he wouldn't believe in luck at all, would he?
No.
Says,
Prepare well or something.
yeah.
Best of function.
Yeah.
Oil those cogs.
Your cogs be forever greasy.
As you begin to sort of like leave the area in the same procession, you can see who's the most perceptive here? Is it you? That will be now. You've got your big old wisdom. Won't
I've got 14.
Passive perception is 19 now.
16.
So nothing gets past it, basically.
Yeah, unless it's a 20.
Wouldn't the 20 also win anyway?
No. You could have expertise in something. So you, and also, you can always roll higher than your passive as well.
So yeah, we have to roll.
You notice a little sort of basement door in the sort of dark edge of the cathedral kind of open up, and you see a little gnome who's kind of clad in these sort of oily, raggy sort of cloaks and stuff, kind of steps out. He's got his little goggles on his head and he wipes his forehead like that, and you see that he's got a little toolbox that he drags out behind him from under the basement, and the door closes behind him, and he kind of just scurries off.
Was Godello Mumblemire a gnome?
Yeah?
Yeah, was he? I was sort of double taking. Oh, that was Godello for a minute.
And so
Did you
yeah.
see it did you?
Why have you told us this? Are you going to relay this information?
There is no information, can you tell? Perhaps we should investigate that trapdoor over there where oil leaked.
Oh, I've shut down. No, I see. Got a computer handy, or what time are we on?
Do you want to use this?
10 to 10.
You can use this if you
I
like.
can get Ferg's old Mac, which I think has your
Or my work laptop. Is that not in here?
I don't know, but Oscar's used your other one before, right? So he's got all the logins and stuff.
Login and stuff.
Yeah.
Who uses my work one?
I don't know.
Hopefully you.
I'm pretty good at blagging.
I wonder why you were a low risk of leaving.
Does my work computer run Elden Ring?
I told you about when I got busted playing Minecraft.
Yeah. Can I pinch that for you?
Yeah.
Is it on its way out?
I think it's okay.
Sure.
Towards the end of it, still go for a bit.
How are you getting on with it?
Oh, I'm doing the pouches,
Yeah, fair.
and I'm doing them only semi-regularly.
So we got on this
That's not an indulgence.
research thing.
Yeah, you want it too?
Yeah.
Nice.
What's that?
Cindy. Someone's doing this like cream vape study where they'll pay you money to go and get like tests and shit if you quit vaping.
Fair.
You get like
And they give you
200
like
quid a session. And it's like
between
12
100
sessions or
and
something.
200 quid a session plus 60 quid travel expenses if it's in Birmingham, and then 500 quid if you go to all 12 sessions at the end.
Oh, this is a
And
vape
they give
thing?
you a nicotine spray to try. That's what they're like testing.
Yeah. Me, Harry and Ferg are doing it.
Oh yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
When is it literally local to Brom? Is it?
Yeah, it's in the fucking Royal, but it's like
Fair.
nearby.
What? And so basically the thing is you what are you to just carry on vaping and then at the end you have to quit or something?
No,
or what?
so after, on your second session, mine next one's in like a few weeks or whatever, they do a test, and your second one they give you the spray and you have to quit, and then there's like 10 more sessions, like every month you go in and they like do more tests, but obviously if you go back to vaping during that, you don't get any more of the money and stuff, so it fucks up their study, so.
Interesting.
Fair. I wonder if doing a DMT vape will mess with it.
How do they tell if you baked?
Probably.
I love that.
That's got to be part of the study, surely. Like,
They've got to be able to.
you know, like
Yeah,
dealing
yeah.
with people who-
Like, yeah, if you you know, if you start vaping again, then okay, sure, that's another point on their data, but like, they can't do any more tests on how well it works after that, you know.
Right.
You sort of end your run.
Yeah. And would you be loath to lie?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
And also they do tests and stuff, so I imagine they do have blood tests and shit, so I'm guessing they see like how much fucking nicotine's in your blood or something, I don't know. So if I'm vaping a lot anyway, they might just be like,
Yeah.
your blood's weird.
Yeah.
Someone who's not vaped.
Did you read the document they said?
What, all 20 pages?
I read like a little bit, and it mentions that 50% of the people get like a placebo spray,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like, surely that kind of defeats the point of a placebo, because now I'm gonna be certain I've got the placebo no matter what.
If you're
Yeah.
given a placebo and you're told it's a placebo, they found it to be equally effective as just having a placebo.
I
What?
don't think that's gonna work on me.
It's true. Yeah.
How?
Don't know. It's like your brain's weird.
It's like here's this thing that's not going to work,
Yeah.
and people are like, great,
Yeah.
and it works.
It works the same amount as an authentic placebo would.
Well, people are fucking idiots, aren't they?
Well, your brain does some more subconscious shit than you realise.
Yeah, it just seems madness.
Yeah.
I just think I'm gonna be like, oh, I've got the placebo, so there's a good it's not. This doesn't do anything.
They probably
So
have.
what
They
then?
probably have to tell you that they.
So then what's the downside of you knowing it doesn't work?
Because then I'm gonna be more likely to vape.
How do you reckon?
Yeah. Because I'll be taking the spray, but then it'll also skew my results in that I'll be like, yeah, it's done nothing.
But that's what analysis is all about. Is that it factors in all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
They probably have to tell you that they're going to
I'm sure they do.
placebo, right?
No, they don't have to tell you.
But
That's
I
that's
think
what they do in
I'm just going to
control
be
studies.
like itching for a thing, itching for a vape, and I'm gonna be like, this is
Or do
fucking
they not
doing
have to
nothing.
say
I'm
at
sure I've
the
got the
start of the
placebos
study that they're
doing
like,
it.
then we will be
but they need
introducing
that data though, because if you've got the actual one and it's also not working, they can say, okay, it's the same as this person. But if you with the placebo say, oh, it is working, then it means that maybe the spray that people say also is working might not actually be that effective. You know.
Yeah,
Because you want like a bigger result.
I guess
that's
I'm
why-
assuming in my head that the spray probably doesn't do very much, but it might actually probably work. In which case, I'll then be like, oh yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, because if you just use the spray because of the placebo effect, if you don't give people placebos, it's impossible to tell whether your thing actually works or if it's just a placebo effect. So you need people with the placebo effect to say, no, they got these results, and the people actually using it got these results.
Yeah. No, I get the idea. I get the point of having a placebo, but telling the person there's a 50% chance you have a placebo. For me, at least, I feel like that's going to skew me towards believing it has a placebo. In which case, I might think that the thing does less than it actually does.
Yeah, well,
But you're still not going to know whether you've got it or not. So it's
No.
basically the same as them not saying that they're giving one.
No, because if I was just
And you
told this is a thing that we've done loads of tests on, it helps loads of people quit vaping, we just want more conclusive evidence, and I'll be like, oh, okay, let's try this thing.
And then if it was a placebo, you could be like, this is shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but also
But
you might. But if you use it and then you start to find, my cravings aren't as bad. This seems to be relatively effective. And then later on they say, oh, you had the placebo,
Yeah.
which you might have thought you had anyway. Then like that it's done its job there, you know. So like, whether you think it is or not doesn't actually change anything.
I think it does.
Okay.
I don't think you'd feel a difference. It's a 1 milligram mouth spray.
I'm going to be drinking some shit.
Fentanyl.
Yeah, just off my fucking...
It fucking works.
Yeah. You can't vape if you can't fucking see the vape, you know?
Just blindness spray. Okay then, so
Fucking nicotine rush, if you get it hard enough, you can go fucking blind, can't you? It makes you not be able to see.
Have
Have you never had that?
experienced DMT vape?
No, literally. Well, I did it when we went to a rave before where I shoved 3 vapes in my mouth. And 2 up my nose and 1 in my mouth, and fucking did that a few times, and then I couldn't see. But then also when we had them killer things.
Yeah, they make
Fucking
you go a
then-
bit spotty.
Yeah, fucking get like a few of them in your mouth in one go. And I like.
blacking out at
Yeah,
SGP.
literally like everything was fucking
I was
going
having
like
to
this. I
hold
couldn't
him
see.
up.
Are you
And
sure
then
it
it-
wasn't like all the other drugs?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, SGP as well. Like I had a
Yeah.
vape and Will had to like fucking grab
I
me
had
and
to
stop me
catch
collapsing.
him, and then for the next like 20 minutes, I just had to like keep my eye on him because he was just kept doing it. I'll just be like having a conversation with somebody and see from like 5 meters away. Ali would be like, I'm like, oh no!
Yeah. But yeah, so you see this little shifty gnome come scuttling out, but other than that, he seems to, you'd have to leave your little queue, so
What does he smell like?
can't smell it. He's like, he's like 50 metres away.
Well, I thought he
Why
scurried
do you wanna
towards
know?
it. Might be a giveaway.
Smells like
what?
jizz.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So we're still in a queue.
To leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a queue to leave.
Surely
Yeah, it's
everyone
all
just-
ordered.
But surely that it doesn't. You don't need a queue to leave.
No,
If you want
it's
to be
order.
orderly.
No, but they would just
Orderly.
walk straight.
Form an orderly queue and leave.
But
We're on a
Okay,
conveyor
I know,
belt,
I
mate.
know,
alright?
I know
Let
this
me
is-
ask you this: is Polana averse to social faux pas?
Start stabbing everyone.
Oathbreakers really
Yeah.
coming out now.
I would say, it's what everyone's doing and what you're expected to do in this House of God. It's
I
like,
just argue there wouldn't be a queue.
there's probably
There is a queue. It's like slowly.
you can argue there wouldn't be a queue, but there is a queue.
You're not here. Just walk through everyone.
Okay, and
Out of interest, the crowd, is it mostly these
Modrons.
Modrons.
Not many Modrons go up to Architectus Prime because they've got their logical directive.
Yeah.
There's a fair few that come and listen to the sermon and to decode what he codes at them. It's mostly the people seeking his counsel are mostly more organic beings and a bunch of warforged, so mostly paladins. And
Okay.
stuff.
Oh yeah, you did say. Sorry.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
We shall join the orderly queue begrudgingly.
Where did the little gnome guy go?
He kind of scuttered off round to the side of the cathedral, and then he sort of just ended up slipping out around the front as well.
Okay. So he didn't have to go in a queue. Okay. So the queue's pointless.
For him.
Okay.
Yeah. And so yeah, after a minute, you kind of step back out onto this sort of more open area, and you see the queue generally begins to disperse around the.
There's no sight of the thing of the gnome. He's scurried off.
Do a roll and see. So you just see him kind of. He's just running along the edge of the front edge of the cathedral. He's kind of dragging his toolbox behind him, and it looks like he's about to kind of go around the outer edge of it.
Can we chase after him?
If you want to. What do you do?
Chase after him? Can I? Do you want
You've
to see
gone,
what's
I'm
going
following
on? Do you
you,
want to
yeah.
see what's going on with this guy?
Banana's chasing a poor, like, maintenance gnome.
I'm going with it. What the fuck, bro?
Doreen's now running behind us, hoping that we don't do anything to the maintenance gnome.
Okay, so yeah, you sort of begin running after him a bit, and as you're chasing him, he's like you begin to sort of close the distance a little bit. And I mean, yeah, what do you say as you approach? He doesn't seem to have noticed you.
Excuse me. Hello.
You see, kind of
Good after. Hello.
Good time.
You see that he doesn't seem to hear you say that.
Excuse me.
Still nothing. No.
Oi!
With that, he kind of drops the toolbox and he looks over, and from like the sort of 20 meters away you are, he goes.
Yes.
You see that he kind of like stays by the wall but doesn't like approach.
Okay. I'll very slowly kind of walk towards him, kind of reassuring me.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Hello. What do you want?
I was just wondering what your role was in the cathedral. You seem very greasy.
He says, yes, I am. Well, you see, the cathedral is quite fascinating, you see, so, of course, covered in Greece, yes.
Yeah. And what is your role here?
He says, well, it depends. It depends if you consider my primary role or my personal interests.
Let's start with the primary role and go from there.
He says, I enact part of the will dictated by Architectus Prime. You see, he's the grand architect of the cathedral, and I help him with all sorts. Yes.
What kind of things?
So, well, the general running and functioning of the cathedral, maintaining the clockwork, making sure that everything's turning as it should be.
Wow. So it's your handiwork that has created this marvelous.
No. It is all in the will of Architectus Prime and
Right.
what he receives from Primes, of course.
Right.
I merely help. And,
You're a cog in the machine.
yes, if you like. Yes.
Make an insight check.
Yeah, sure.
Just see how. If there's, I think he's not saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
10.
With advantage?
There's no real call for advantage at the moment. He with a 10, you see that he's a little bit shifty and fidgety, but he seems to just be sort of just a sort of an odd little fellow. You're not really gaining much more from what you're seeing.
And your other interests that you spoke of, what would they be?
He says, well, the basement of the Clockwork Cathedral is quite a labyrinth. Yes. I like to explore and study. I'm most fascinated by the mysteries within there. Some strange form of time manipulation.
Time manipulation?
Yes, it's quite a marvel. Yes.
Wow. Is this something you created?
I have not created it, no. I study it, I manage it, I wish to learn more about it, but it is something that I fear only the Architectus Prime himself truly understands.
Right. And is this a mere hobby, or is this part of your duties?
At this, you see he kind of like shuffles his feet around a little bit. And he's like,
I think I got a little bit carried away with what I said there, so I'm just excited. I bid you think of it no more, really.
Well, the cat's out of the bag now, my friend.
He says, what on earth does that mean?
What's the bag?
My cat, it's... Oh, where's it gone?
You just get the bag and you just scoop him up.
The cat's in the bag now!
Out with the cat, in with the nose.
I'm sure it's this time to do that.
Come now, we're all friends here. I'm very interested in this time dilation that you talk of.
He says, I really don't know. I'm not sure I should say give me a persuasion check.
Yeah, I was also going to say...
Fuck you.
I was also going to say, my sincerest apologies. I haven't introduced myself. My name is Glorfindel, and you are?
My name is Thorn Ironweaver.
Thorn Ironweaver. It is a marvelous pleasure to meet you. 18.
18. And what was it specifically that you were sort of asking? Or what were you
About
into?
just more information about the time
I
thing
see.
that he was talking about.
He says,
Well, as you well know, here in Concordant Opposition, there's no magic, as it were, as is found on all the other planes. I've noticed that there's something inherent, something physical about the turning of the cogs. Transcends magic, but nonetheless seems to bend time to their will.
And how might that be possible? I mean, my party and myself have had all of our magic stripped.
Indeed, it is certainly no magic. I've inspected and searched and checked every nook and cranny I can. It's something that I am most unclear about. I'm sure Architectus Prime knows, but nary would he share this with me.
And how have you noticed these time dilations? What effect have they had on the basement?
It says the effects themselves, nothing really. Everything works as it's supposed to, but it is merely something that I've detected myself. My internal clock, I'd say, is comparable to any crafted device of any kind. I know.
You have a clock inside.
He says, when I go down there into the basement, the deeper I go, the more I can feel it. The stretching, the bending. There's, mysteries to uncover, to be sure.
Do you think we could take a look at this?
He says, I don't think so. No, none but the maintenance people are allowed to go down there. And besides, what is it you could see that I would not? I've spent decades doing this.
Interesting.
He says there as the clocks continue to tick, the work I must do grows. I bid you please. We must talk no more of this. I fear it may be a mystery that you're not supposed to know. And as a part to that, please don't go spreading any rumours.
Of course not. Thank you for your time, and good luck with your work on the cathedral. I'm sure you will keep it ticking and healthy and orderly.
He says, yes, of course I will. And you see that he
before he picks up his tool bag, you see that he's got like incredibly greasy hands, and he like wipes them on his shirt, but it's like equally greasy, so nothing really happens, and he just grabs his tool bag and runs off with it, and he scurries off around the corner. Yeah. And so,
Can we just quickly poke our heads around the corner and see where he scurries to?
yeah,
As he scurries away.
yeah, sure.
You
Yeah.
start chasing him again.
Really, actually. You see that as he kind of scurries off, you see that after a minute he just sort of squeezes himself down into like a sort of little, almost like a not like a cat flap, but like a little tiny door that you can squeeze through into the side of the cathedral, presumably leads into
cool.
this labyrinth. Yeah.
And it's too small for any of us to go through.
The door would probably squeeze in, but you might get on the bad side of these guys if you're busted.
Okay.
What say you of this time manipulation he spoke of?
I don't know, but I find it very interesting. I mean, in a land with no magic, how does one affect time with cogs? Yes, I don't know what to make of this.
Can I make Arcana, see if I've ever heard of anything like this before?
Yeah, sure.
Probably not, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, 19.
19. Yeah, no, there's nothing major coming to you. The only thing that you'd think of a little bit is obviously like
Careful, he's got muddy paws if he's treading on paper.
sort of, you know, I mean, it doesn't. The only sort of slight connection you'd make or the link in your mind is just the sort of similarities of this place and the descriptions you've heard about Mechanus and stuff like that. But other than that, there's nothing really. You know, there's no piece of knowledge for you to recall on.
Being able to manipulate time could work in our favour.
True,
If
but
if this tinkery little gnome hasn't been able to understand it after decades of study, I don't know what hope we have. Although that chap wasn't Dorwin.
wait, that wasn't Dawn? Yes.
So it was actually the first time he just cast decoy.
Yeah, I don't know. Should we start going towards the Outlands? Yeah. It's not going anywhere, is it?
Oh, that's massive. Yeah. Okie dokie then. So, with that, you begin to. You leave the area of the Clockwork Cathedral, and you begin to. Let me just check one more thing. Where are you? Sorry, just give me 2 seconds. Alright, never mind. It's gone. Yeah, okay. So, you begin to make your way into the direction of one of these sort of edgelands of the corner opposition, where you can see that there's these various portals based in the area of the Nexus Gate. And as you kind of make your way over to the Nexus Gate, you can see that there are there's a couple of like various areas of ringed circles basically, each with these just sort of relatively unassuming stone archways, and surrounding the place there's lots of very physically tough looking guards and stuff with various demeanours.
They're all barbarians.
Yeah. And there's sort of multiple instances of these circles of 16 stones, and you know, it's not hard to tell based on who coalesces around each of them, which one sort of belongs generally to each of them. You find that there's a bunch of Modrons and a couple of humans and stuff hanging around the gate, which obviously leads to allow you to make your way to Arcanus. And as you sort of look around and approach, you see that there's these Modrons which just can waltz right through basically, and then there's a couple of organics and stuff having to show stuff or talk to the guards there and everything. There's these two Warforged kind of stood over either side of it, who seem to be checking each person through. And as you approach, one of them, a couple of people have gone through. One of them turns to the three of you and says, "Where do you wish to go?"
Arcanus.
Arcanus.
Very well. Have you travelled in the Outlands before?
No.
Very well. He says, official advice. Ensure that you maintain the straight path once you leave this portal, lest you end in the wrong city.
Understood.
Excellent.
Not accepted. Acceptable.
Yes. Acceptable. He says, please provide script of passage.
Script provided.
As he takes it, he just goes and just shoots it up.
Give that back. That's not food.
He says, well, I guess it's 4 of you, isn't it? He says, 4 of you may enter, and he gestures to the archway. Okay.
Is that us in the goblet?
Yeah.
Wait, no.
Oh no, I meant Enoch.
Yeah, I was there, leave Enoch, didn't know.
Yeah. He's got some stuff.
Yeah, this guy's not with us, don't know.
Yeah.
Greasy Dave.
As you step through this archway, you suddenly find yourself it's like stepping through, and you're just immediately in this completely different place. So you just walked, and everything's changed. So initially, as you look up behind you, you can see this sort of incredibly tall pillar of stone that starts off. It's extraordinarily wide, but from your guys' perspective, it sort of goes up like this, and it travels up and it goes to an incredibly fine point, and this fine point seems to extend for like an incredible distance. And you can see just at the top of this sort of stone spike, wrapped around it is the ringed city of concordant opposition. So you're essentially just however many kilometers below it, essentially.
So that's what's in the jam.
In the jam? Oh, the jam. Yes, in the jam. Yes, the stone spike. But yeah, it's kind of starts off relatively, sort of rocky and stuff, but then quite quickly smooths out as it approaches the top. And then the sort of thinnest point of it seems to extend for an incredibly long distance. Now, you can feel the sort of lightest touch of magic return to you now that you're outside of concordant position, but it's still incredibly weak. Like, you can barely summon things. And as you...
Does Dragos return?
Not yet, no. You'd maybe feel his presence a little bit in the gem.
Gnawing at me to get out.
Yeah. Sort of phasing in and out. But as you look in the direction you need to travel, you can see that there is a bit of a general path. But in terms of what you actually see, similar to those statues, the nature of the terrain is the same. What you actually see it as is completely subjective as well. So for each one of you, for most people, perhaps the first time that they come to the concordant opposition, it will normally look like just sort of what's kind of familiar and like makes a bit of sense. That will kind of dictate the entire vibe and path what you're looking at. But in terms of but it doesn't drastically change the terrain in one way or another. So I'll go through each of you. What do you think you would see?
Scraggly rocks and
dirt.
Yeah. And the caves sort of scattered around and stuff.
Yeah.
It's real dark.
Dingy.
Like mushrooms and stuff growing
Yeah,
around.
slippery rocks, little pool with like something gross in it.
Slugs.
Yeah, so
What about you, do you think?
Yeah, I think it would just be like luscious grasslands and like very blue skies.
It's like any slug.
There is some slugs there.
Interdimensional perma slugs.
Yeah.
So go on.
And like just beautiful like little flowers dotted around and little grasshoppers bouncing around and stuff.
Cool.
Like a meadow kind of, yeah.
Yeah, lovely. And what about you, Gesh?
Probably combinations of two,
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that it'd be mountainous, but then, you know, long sweeping valleys. The sky will be
The
partially
important question.
cloudy. There'll be
How many slugs?
Oh. To the keen hunter's eye, one can see 10.
I would say as well that sorry, continue.
I was just going to say, and the distinct smell of fresh rain as well.
I would say that looking around the place as well. By the way, just as a reminder, this isn't necessarily like your ideal place. It's just like
Most familiar.
sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What like if you were to summon part of your essence in a way into a place, like what would be the first thing that the world would make for you? And as well, kind of scattered around further afield as well, there are like occasional buildings and stuff. You know, not many real villages necessarily. A couple of them are ruins and stuff like that. Or they might not be ruins to you. Like, what do you think structures would look like? Like, what could be a hill to one person could be a ruined fortress to another, and could be a elven kingdom to another. You know. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe some sort of barracks type sort of strongholds. Maybe some of them up in the mountains and stuff like that.
Yeah, for me, probably quite similar to be fair, like some paladin training kind of grounds, but very like almost like abandoned, and the earth has kind of taken it over, and it's a bit like,
Yeah.
you know,
A bit mossy.
yeah, mossy statue in the centre.
Mine would be like rough hewn stone structures, sort of like not even cemented, just sort of like resting together, you know, like igloo-esque but rocky.
Yeah.
And like all the doors and windows would just be like open holes and stuff.
Big black holes.
Big black holes.
Yeah, nice. Okay, awesome. Yeah. I mean, what is there anything you would say to? Would you say anything to another?
I like it here.
Do we know where we're supposed to be going from here?
You're meant to just sort of follow the way that you leave, and then you should end up where you want to go.
Okay.
So yeah, so the Warforged
As in,
says,
so we just keep walking in the direction of the portal behind us. Okay.
Sort of thing,
yeah, the
And
Warforged
is
says
That's leading away from the spike?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What does the Warforged say?
he said that he just said walk straight on the path that you when you leave the portal.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Okay.
Is there a sun here?
In the Outlands, I would say that it would kind of depend on what it chooses to summon for you subjectively. You know. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So you begin your journey, and you know it takes quite a while. You notice that there are sometimes the further you travel from the spike, the more you start to feel like certain magic's coming back to you, and you continue sort of pressing along. You're kind of wary, like while the Outlands are pretty barren in general, of you know sort of humanoid life and stuff. there's still this sort of sense of potential threat. Sort of open, exposed place and everything. Pardon me. And you occasionally, some of this, there's occasionally like a slower person or something that you'd meet along the path. But I would say that the amount of people that you sort of bump into or go past or catch up to you doesn't really mirror the amount of people that were coming out necessarily, for some reason. So yeah, you continue sort of making your way. You find that you continue walking until you're kind of tired and you feel like it's time to take a break, and so you set up a bit of a camp, and subjectively for each of you it would be start to change more to a time that represents that. I would say the one thing that's a little bit strange about being here is that although you get sort of tired, you don't seem to be getting any hungrier. So you set up a little camp.
It's because we're eating all the slugs, right?
Gross. So yeah, that's just a sort of thing you might notice. You can eat, and it's pleasurable enough and everything.
We don't feel the need to.
Mm.
So we've been travelling for a day, have we? We've been travelling for the best part of the day, have we? Or?
Yeah, like a full day, pretty much.
Can I make a roll or some kind of check to make sure that we're still wandering on the correct path?
Yeah, give me a survival.
Cool. Also, I'm gonna eat.
Yeah.
Even though we don't need to.
Sure, yeah.
7.
7.
Could maybe Gesh do one as well?
Yeah, I suppose so. This time we can.
Well,
I mean, it's something you would all be checking the whole time, I suppose.
Yeah.
So go on.
And also, could I use my natural explorer feat in this case as well? Because I am in a terrain that I favour, so
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. 22.
Nice. Yeah, so, I mean, I guess it would make more sense to do the checks as we go and see if you fail them and end up deviating, I suppose. But yeah, I'll say for now you've managed to, seems like you maintain the course pretty much. I would say that at one point you do, well, I'll say this on the next day basically as you pick up and travel. There is somebody who seems to be getting robbed essentially by a little gang of goblins. There's this person who's kind of got a pack on their back and they're starting to unpack their things. And these goblins, they kind of are wearing all manner of weird sort of patchwork armor and stuff as they're pointing weapons up at them.
How many goblins?
There's probably about 11 or 12.
Okay.
How's your magic feeling now, Dorwin?
Pretty poor still.
Yeah, so it's about half your magic.
I guess first, would I be able to summon my wings?
At this point, probably, yeah.
Probably.
Half strength though.
Okay, so maybe it lasts 30 seconds instead of a minute or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And also, in terms of if we're in a place with no time, how does a once a day thing work?
Well, there. Oh yeah, because it's once a day, isn't it? Maybe when
After a
the amount of time that would have elapsed, sort of thing, for a day. For you,
Okay. But it's not generally affected. It's basically the same.
Yeah, I think for gameplay purposes, we'll say it's like that. Yeah.
Okay. How far away are they?
So you've spotted them probably about. By the time you've made out what it is, before it maybe looked like just a bit of a blur or something. I mean, how far away would you be able to see that? I mean, maybe if there's an undulation, we'll say it's about 200 meters away.
Okay. Should we save this poor fellow?
I propose we do not. We are in unfamiliar territory, and these goblins clearly have the initiative and the upper hand. They know these lands. We do not. With Dorwyn at half strength and you and I unable to cast our magics as we would usually, I propose we steer clear and
would
steal
say
our way round.
Just might alter Gesh's. I'm not trying to like force you to do that thing, but goblins are like ridiculously pathetic. They're like a quarter CR.
Dude, we've taken on like one of the major lieutenants in hell. Like even at half strength, we are fucking wham. You
Right.
could ping an
I was
arrow.
just gonna say,
right between the eyes.
leave it with me. Sharpshooter is not magical. Then I just kill them all. Bow and arrow as they turn and run towards us.
Were they attacking someone? Sorry.
They're robbing someone.
Robbing
Well, it looked like they were robbing someone.
Sure.
Yeah, they're sort of
Okay.
they're sort of stood around a person who seems to be taking off their pack. That's all you know, though.
Yeah.
Might be like
Sorry, that modifier thing didn't work.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It worked on mine.
Oh. Maybe I'm being a fucking idiot then.
If you on your wisdom,
Yeah.
if you click it and click, there's an override score bit.
Yeah.
If you just set it to like 0 or 20 or whatever, just like to see, it should update. It's the attack roll on your actions.
Yeah, I've gone on my wisdom override score to 20. Yeah, and then it's
What's the attack roll for your Elven
11.
Absolution? And what if you set wisdom to 0? What is it then?
Oh shit. Oh, it does come down.
Call it soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, sound. Alright, sound mate.
You were expecting it to be different.
Yeah, Elven Absolution, it's now ethereal draconianism and it's no longer an uncommon item, it's now a rare item. So it's basically does +1 damage, +1 attack, to attack. Basically it's blue, not green. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
So do I need to change the?
No, that's that. I mean, yeah. So
Because when you changed it to be Draconi, whatever,
yeah,
you would have set custom.
draconi.
You would have set custom stats on it. So when you deleted it and re-added it, it would have removed those. So either I can change it on the homebrew, or you can do that again and just custom add modifiers to.
Oh
put
yeah,
it back
cool.
to
I'll do them on
plus.
here.
If you can customize it as well, make it a legendary item because it's like totally unique.
All right, cool.
I don't know if you can change that.
Okay, then I don't think I'll be able to.
But you can change the like damage roll and shit like that.
Yeah, I want the colour though as well. It's going to be a legendary item. I want it to be orange.
Well, I can change that in whatever after this.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, shall we pause here then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's alright. We're gonna go to bed.
Yeah.
Just before we start, we can go into
Yeah.
Start bopping